Hello and welcome to The United Stand. It's Sunday Night Live. If you are watching live, sorry, not because it's a bad show, but we are a little bit late. But I'm joined by Rants and Flex, and they're going to have their say. Normally you'll catch them on a Tuesday night on their own show, but we've got the A-team tonight, and we will be talking about, well, there's loads to talk about. Mourinho's Manchester United warning, but I want to get straight into Sunday Supplement today. Neil Custis was on there. He's had a funny couple of weeks, hasn't he? He's the one who said that Pogba and Mourinho had the falling out. Then he's coming out saying that it's a disgrace the way everybody's treating Mourinho. And just to read some of his quotes, way over the top. He's won more trophies than Liverpool and Arsenal. He's picked the morale up around the team. He took over an absolute mess. They're second last season. We're only 2 games in. And his CV is being picked apart. I mean, Rance, we'll go to you first. Great to have you on the show. I mean, look, there's a lot of top reds out there, as I call them at the moment, saying it's disgraceful, get behind the manager. And then there's people there's somebody I know in particular who used to write for the Red Issue, who's supported United for 30 years, saying if I knew it would get rid of Mourinho tomorrow, I would accept a loss against Spurs. So what are your feelings at the moment? Do you think it's over the top with Mourinho, or do you think it's like, you know, it's just down to the individual really and how they feel?
Yeah, I think it's down to the individual. I think that a lot of people are giving him the benefit of the doubt because of what he's done in the past. But in football, man, you're only as good as what you've done recently. And in recent times, he hasn't done enough to suggest that he deserves full backing. Like, he just hasn't for me. Everyone's saying he's an elite manager and look at his CV. But for an elite manager, when's the last time he's been in a Champions League final? Like, do you know what I mean? It's just like, we're looking, 7, 8 years? Like, I just believe that he's past it, in all honesty. And because he's not a very likable person, the benefit of the doubt is not being given to him by a lot of people. And that's just all it is, man. I feel like he's made countless errors and we've given him the benefit of the doubt because of what he's done previously. But I think it's time to look past that, man.
Just very quickly, because obviously this, what I said there, I mean, if I was to offer you lose tomorrow to Spurs and Mourinho gets sacked on Tuesday, do you understand that sort of point of view from a United fan, or is that too extreme for you?
For me, that's mad, isn't it? Like, I'm not taking a loss tomorrow to get rid of Mourinho. I'd rather win and get rid of him. Do you know what I mean? But for me, like, I'm not taking a loss to get rid of the manager, man. Like, obviously, as a fan, you want what's best for the football club. A lot of fans believe what's best for the football club is not him in charge, which I understand because I'm one of those fans. However, I'm not trying to lose to Tottenham tomorrow, like, regardless.
Definitely, I would agree with that. But I also think, you know, as you said yourself there, it's down to the individual fan. And certainly, I don't go in for this, oh, you're not a proper fan if you want United to lose. I think actually what the person said is, I would be, if it meant getting rid of Mourinho, it's 3 points out of,
I'd accept it, yeah.
Out of 100. But each to their own. I mean, Flex, what about you? You know, I can never tell which way you're swinging on this one with Mourinho. I think you're a bit like me. It's like, you know, I'm not happy, but I mean, the one thing I would pick up on is that Neil Custis said he improved the morale at Manchester United, which is one of the things that everyone says is really bad. And let's not forget, Van Gaal finished 5th on goal difference. We would have been 4th if we'd score a goal more, and he won an FA Cup. So there is a little bit of a myth around there about, you know, especially when you look at how bad the football is now. But is Mourinho getting too much? Do you have any sympathy towards him?
When I say sympathy, I wouldn't say sympathy. I have an understanding that not everything that is wrong with the club right now is his fault. So, you know, there are other factors. You look at the board, you look at the recruitment. Those are not Jose's problems. They're different. He's not to blame for that. The fact that they did give him an extension. So if they did give him an extension, you kind of have to agree with the fact that, okay, well, that means you're obviously backing him 100%. And for whatever reason, they've done a U-turn because, you know, they've obviously deemed like they don't want to back him. So I don't really have sympathy for him. I just have an understanding as to he's not the only reason why we're not bad. But like Rant says, a lot of the time, and a lot of other people who can see what some of the real issues are, there are a lot of things that are down to him. And the way we play that hasn't progressed in the last 2 years is down to him. It's down to coaching. You look at the players he has bought, he's like 3 or 4 positions off nearly buying a whole squad, a whole 11. So I'm not really interested in completely shafting him of the blame or trying to do this sympathy thing, because at the end of the day, he's bought a big share of the players that are there. that he wanted. And none of them have gels, and the players that were already there were looking like they were going to kick on to better things, to me, haven't got better. You could argue Jesse Lingard, which some people say that he's responsible for, but he was coming through under Van Gaal anyway. Lukaku's doing what he always does. Pogba's gone backwards. Martial's gone backwards. Rashford's gone backwards. Lindelof and Bailly don't play. They're his bias. Mkhitaryan's gone. Like, how much is it not down to Jose? That's down to Jose. So I don't have a lot of sympathy for him, but he's not the only person to blame.
Gazel says, I'd happily lose the next 3 games to get this clown out. I think if we lost the next 3 games,
man,
we probably wouldn't be getting top 4. You can't be losing 4 games by the middle of September. I mean, that's what I was going to say to both of you, but I'll go to Rants on this one. Spurs tomorrow night. I mean, if we were to lose that, looking at what Liverpool and Chelsea have got, that would be 6 points behind them. We'd be so bad, we'd be level with Arsenal. I mean, I said earlier on, I don't think a draw's good enough. I think we've got to win tomorrow night. And I know some people think that's a pressure thing, but surely we're going to respond tomorrow night. I mean, that's on the players. I almost feel that Mourinho's irrelevant. The players have got to perform tomorrow night. Old Trafford, under the lights, Spurs, big game. They've got to win. Are we setting ourselves up for a fall again, or are you confident that we're going to get it done tomorrow night? Especially, I want to talk about Pogba, eyes on him.
No, that's what I'm saying. I always said, regardless of the relationship between Mourinho and the players, when it comes to the big games, the big players always step up. They done it for us last season. The big games weren't the reason why we didn't do well. It was the smaller games. So I still believe our big game players are going to turn up and do what they're meant to do in this game. And if they don't, it's a clear sign that these guys have down tools and they don't want to play for Jose no more. Like, it's that simple for me, because even at times where, like, Jose and Pogba haven't been getting on for a while, we've seen them have arguments on the pitch and this, that and the other. But you saw the Manchester City game last season. Pogba just showed up. Like, he does it. Like, he's a big game player. No one can't tell me anyways. I've just seen him score in the World Cup final. You can't tell me that this guy don't have it. If he doesn't turn up tomorrow, and if a few of the other big names don't turn up tomorrow, like the Alexises and whatever, then we know why that is, because you don't need to be motivated to play these kind of games.
No, I mean, obviously, you'll be there tomorrow, Flex. If, like Rance says, that happened, and Rance will be there as well, watch out for the fan cams after the game. I'm sure they'll be good either way. But I think that's where a lot of United fans would become frustrated, because it's like, yeah, you know what, you might not want to play for the manager, but we're not Chelsea, we're Manchester United. Mourinho will be gone in a year probably anyway, but United's history never disappears. There's absolute footballing legends who've worn that shirt, and there'll be 75,000 fans there. They've got to... I think Burnley-Watford are the games to judge United. Tomorrow, it's just smash it. Just get in there, show them what you're all about, get the 3 points. Mourinho will go in a month, 2 months, a year, whatever. But tomorrow night's not really about that. Don't go making any statement about you're not backing a manager. Just go out and play for the shirt.
100%. Are you talking to me, Mark? Sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, 100%. Like Rance is saying, you don't need to be motivated, and like I said, what is going in our favour, why I think we'll win the game, I said it in our previews, is that 1, Tottenham don't travel well to Old Trafford, and 2, against the top 6, we seem to get the job done there. We raise our game somehow. Old Trafford will be rocking, and you expect to see a reaction from the poor performance against Brighton. So I don't think those factors are to do with what's going on with Jose and people's personal relationships. You step out onto the pitch at Old Trafford, 75,000, then the players will be up for it, and I think we'll see that reaction. What worries me, and people could say flipping at one game at a time, but I'm just being honest and saying it as it is. We've got it in us to have a great performance against Spurs, maybe not even a great performance, just get the result we want, and then face a very tough trip to Burnley the week after and struggle. So those are the things where we struggled last season against the lesser sides. Against the top teams at home, bar Man City, we did the business. We cut the mustard. So I expect the same again. I expect it to be a tight, cagey affair. I've gone for 1-0. But like I said, I think that the players will rise to the occasion, and the fans will be rocking. One thing I have been impressed with is that no matter what negativity's been around the club and the media and all the nonsense, whatever your thing is about Jose, whether you're in, you're out, you're in the middle, whatever, when it comes to game day, the day before, Twitter starts buzzing off. People can't wait to see us play, and obviously at Old Trafford, the noise levels are through the roof, and that's how it should be. And I think that's what we'll see.
We're going to take some of your comments a little bit later in the show, because I know a lot of people love the Rants and Flex show, or the Flex and Rants, whichever way you want to do it. And obviously it's not live at the moment, so we'll take some of your questions at the end so you can interact with them. But Dimi says, we can all go on calling each other out, but one thing we cannot change as United fans is Mourinho's game is worse than Tony Pulis. I'm sure that'll be, some people agree, some people don't. I do agree that we're the only team in the Premier League who play hoofball other than Cardiff, which makes me feel sick. But I want to bring the Pogba thing in here, because everyone's got an opinion on this, and a lot of people are saying this is something that they'd like to spend a couple of minutes on tonight. Please do drop a like on the video if you are watching live. Rants, in relation to Pogba, we've had the comments from Pogba. We've then had, I think it was last week, Mino Raiola about Paul Scholes. I mean, basically, Mino Raiola having a pop at Paul Scholes for basically what a lot of United fans think, that Pogba only plays one good game in 3. And Raiola comes out and does that. Pogba stays quiet, apart from a picture about a new pair of boots. What's your interpretation? Because some people are saying, I'd sell Pogba tomorrow for that. Some people are like, well, I'd kick Mourinho out to keep Pogba. What are your thoughts, Rants, on this? And then obviously Flex has obviously got a point as well.
I think the whole thing's comedy. I think the fact that Jose Mourinho has convinced a lot of people that Paul should be out of the club, I think that says it all. That's why he needs to go, innit? Like, anyone with half a brain cell can see that those are two best outfield players. Like, it's not even close. Do you know what I mean? For the team with the heritage that we have and the kind of football that we've been accustomed to, these guys are Manchester United players. The fact that our fans are turning on them because these two guys are the focal point of our team. Like, there's no two ways about it. Like, it's very clear that Martial loves the club, or else he would have been out of here long. He even said himself that he wanted to leave last season, and the only thing that kept him at the club was the fans, because he hasn't been happy for some time. And I think the same is to go with Paul Pogba as well. And even with David De Gea to a certain point. David De Gea loves the club, because if not, he would have forced a move and he would have probably got one. But he didn't. Paul Pogba loves the club. He just won the World Cup. If Paul Pogba didn't want to be here, he could force a move and the club would have to sell him if he came out and said he wanted to leave. He doesn't want to leave the club. He just doesn't like the manager. He doesn't like the way we play football. He came out and he said before the last game, the preparation wasn't good, the attitude wasn't good. He was talking to the board. He was talking about the manager's negative tactics. Like, it was very obvious who he was having a shot at. So it's very clear that there's a disconnect between the way some of our players want to play football and the way the manager wants them to play football. So we've got the best centre midfielder in the game at our club. It's that simple. Like, when he's on song, it's not even close.
There you go. Clear message there. We've got the best midfielder in the world on his game, and he shouldn't be going anywhere. And I think you were going to say something along those lines, Flex. I mean, there are a lot of United fans saying get rid of him. I must admit, I am disgusted by Mino Raiola, and I do feel that Pogba should have come out and said something, because it's an endorsement, and I don't really care about Mourinho. Someone have a go at him. He's the manager of Manchester United. That's going to happen. But I think Paul Scholes, he's not always right, but I think what he said was right. And when an agent comes out and does that, it's never going to make you that popular with fans. But I would never go as far as to say I want him to go. Certainly when you can't even replace him. And actually, who would you replace him with?
Exactly. Like, Paul Pogba is the epitome of a great footballer and someone that should be at Man United. We all know that. And for people to have these reactions of they want him out of the club and he's not good enough. I saw someone in the comments say, how can you think Pogba's good enough? Well, that's just ridiculous. Like, don't get me wrong. He needs to he needs an environment that he's happy in and comfortable in, and some of his own performances, he needs to be slightly more consistent. Well, a lot more consistent, but we know he's got the talent and the potential. So getting rid of him for me is not an option. And with the Raiola thing, I know you feel like he should have come out and kind of said something about that, because you feel he's like almost condoning it. But I kind of take the opposite stance. I think his agent's a clown. He always has been a clown. And the best thing for Pogba to do in that situation is just leave it, because if you actually read the comments, what he said, it's just between Pogba and it's between Scholes and the agent. Like, it's not really to do with Paul Pogba. Like, he can't control what comes out of his agent's mouth. Raiola's a clown. We know this from years ago. So I don't know. I kind of think if Pogba does come out and say that, you've got to think he is still representing him. It's still going to be a conflict of interest. I know in the ideal world you'd want him to, but for me, I don't really care that he didn't say anything. And him posting that picture of Shush, I take that as, you know what, like, yeah, just be quiet, man. I'm here to just play my football. I don't care about Raiola and his mad antics and what Paul Scholes is saying. And I don't think that he's disrespecting Paul Scholes one bit. I think he knows what a great player he's been for the club. Any person associated with United knows that. I just think that Pogba he does that a lot. Like when the media's always on his back, or he just doesn't really comment on it. But that's what made me understand that there is a problem with Mourinho and Pogba, because like I just said, Pogba doesn't really come out and address those things. So for him to say at the time, I can't say this, I can't say that, I might get fined, and then for Mourinho to then say in the next press conference, well, if you want to know what Paul said, ask him. Like they're just throwing it back and forth, because then there was another question when Pogba said, what did the manager say at half time? And Pogba was like, you need to ask him. They're addressing certain things to a certain extent, and that's the things I think that they're annoyed with.
Definitely. Bio20 says that's easy. You replace him with Savic. I mean, just a couple of things I'd say there. I mean, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I said last week, I personally don't like Shh. I think it's ambiguous. I think it's, not disrespectful, but I think it's indicative of the modern footballer era. I think they're detached or don't appreciate the intelligence levels of some football fans. I mean, Pogba, the day before the Manchester derby, Pep says he was offered to him 3 months ago. Pogba scores a couple of goals and goes shush. And you get some United fans going, oh yeah, he sat Pep down. Whereas I just saw him go shush. That didn't mean anything. And then this week he puts a picture out of him going shush. Well, that might be shush Mourinho. That might be shush Scholes. It might be shush Raiola. I don't know what it is. And I don't necessarily, I think it's disrespectful. I think that he should have better control of his agents. I disagree with you there. I think he should tell his agent to shut up. I mean, Mino Raiola earned £25 million out of him coming to our club. So Raiola can do what he likes. But at the end of the day, if he hasn't got Paul Pogba as his client, he's just a bloke, isn't he? So I think Pogba wouldn't shut him down, because I think Pogba probably hasn't got a problem with what he said. But for me, there's a lot of knobhead footballers out there. I think you're living in a naive world if you think footballers are nice people. There's some real knobheads out there. But if they put a Manchester United shirt on and they do the business, that's what we're critiquing them on. And what Flex says there about Mourinho and Pogba, 100% there's an issue there. I actually agreed with Neil Custis 2 weeks ago, and I know a lot of people don't because it's the Sun, and I get that, but Neil Custis today has come out defending Mourinho ridiculously. He's pro-Manchester United, he's pro-Mourinho. Why would he release a story about Mourinho and Pogba that was going to be disruptive? Because he was right. There's clearly an issue there, and Flex has hit the nail on the head with that. Rants, the big question I think a lot of people in the live comments will want to ask is, we can talk about the match tomorrow, we can talk about lots of things, but Jose Mourinho, style of football we don't know, best 11 we don't know. Sorry, we do know the style of football. It's prime 80s Wimbledon. Changes his team, inconsistent, losing the fans, board not backing him, losing the players. Will he turn this around? Is there any hope that he will turn this around, or is it a long or short goodbye in your mind?
Nah, man. I said like over a year ago it will all end in tears, and everyone was like, "Oh, why are you being so negative?" This is what Jose Mourinho does, man. When we got him, Chelsea fans were laughing at me. They were like, you know what, he's your problem now. And I was like, what? He won titles with you, like, he's your most successful manager. And they were like, nope, trust me, it never ends well with this guy. And now I'm starting to see it, man. There's no way he can turn it around. Like, most of the problems he has at the club are of his own making. Everyone can talk about the board. As Flex said, barring the two fullbacks and the goalkeeper, he's bought a full starting 11. And what, it's still not his team? Do you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't know his strongest 11. We don't know our strongest 11. We don't have a style of play, and whatever it is crap. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no identity to the club. You can't tell me going into the third season, like, we haven't really improved. Like, what, do you need to buy 15 players to improve the team? Like, why can't you improve the players that you have by coaching them? Like, as far as I'm concerned, no one can look at what Jose Mourinho's done at the club and call it a success. Like, that's the bare minimum with the caliber of players that he has. And with the caliber of players that he has at his disposal, I think it's been a big failure because we haven't seen 100% from anyone. So, in my opinion, he can't turn this around, and they should have got rid of him after the FA Cup final, but they haven't. So in this season, the best we can hope for is Champions League football, bruv. If we don't get a trophy, in all honesty, if we don't get a trophy, I just want Champions League football so the next manager comes in and we've got something to work with, because we have a good squad of players. A lot of the fans are underestimating how good actually our squad is because they're listening to all the media bullshit. We have a better squad than most of the top. Do you know what I mean? And everyone's talking about a squad like it's bleeding and it's dying. Like we got Leclerc, we got Sanchez, Martial, Rashford, Mata, Pogba, Matic, Bailly, De Gea. Like we've got some good players, and they're talking about a squad like it's Arsenal's. Like it's not. You know what I mean? So, like I honestly think he can't turn it around because he hasn't managed the squad well. His man management's been poor. The players aren't playing for him. He can't turn it around. We get a manager in that these players play for, you see a different team, but I think there's no way back for him.
Mick C says Jose's toxic, get him out ASAP. My fear is, and Rance is sort of saying it as well there, is that I think that the best we can hope for is sort of a grind out third or fourth and then they get rid of him next summer. I don't think this board will sack him until it's absolutely impossible for us to get mathematically not get top four.
100%.
I don't want to. I don't want. And I think some people think, oh, if we lose 3 or 4 games, they'll get rid of him, and they won't. They won't. They'll just keep with him because it's all about the money. I mean, you're out there at the Games Flex. The one thing that I can never really grasp, and Neil Custis listed a load of positives, and I look around social media and people are like, yeah, come on, let's get behind Mourinho. It's terrible the way he's been treated, and maybe it is, but everything Rance has just said there is my issue. It's like, I don't understand how United fans have suddenly changed and don't appreciate what the history of the club is. We're an attacking team. We use the width. We're passionate. We're risk takers. And over the last 5 years, this board has taken us away from that in a way I'll never understand. 3 defensive managers. I don't really give a damn about office politics in the dressing room, signings in the summer, whether the manager wants to talk to the press or anything like that. If every Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon or Wednesday night they're going out and they're playing the way I expect United to play, which teams like Bournemouth are doing, it's not rocket science. That's the thing for me.
Exactly.
But you interview fans, and some of them are just like, nah, at the end of the day, I'll back Mourinho. He can turn this around. He's won us a couple of trophies. He got us second place. And it worries me, I don't know, but it worries me that maybe with every passing year that we played this good football, it's starting to disappear.
Yeah, it's getting further and further away. I mean, even my uncle came over from the Cayman Islands. He's a massive Man United fan. He lives over in the Caribbean. He said, "The Flex, I've been watching your videos and stuff, man. I really, really enjoyed them. But come on, man, how are you getting on Mourinho's back like that? He's the best thing for this football club." And even he thinks it. Like, it is about opinion, but there's this thing that I keep talking about, and it's called blinded by love. Blinded by love. I see it week in, week out, where I literally see fans that are so in love with the club that they're blinded by what's in front of them and see it as a disrespect to challenge anything that may be not right. And for me, if you truly love the club and you truly want the best for the club, you have to question these things. Now, some people call that that you're not supporting the club. Like, first of all, I support Manchester United. I don't support Mourinho or the assistant or, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I want them to do well, but when they're not doing well, I'm going to question reasons as to why. That's my right as a fan. Even if I didn't go to every game, even if I sat and watched every game at home on the TV, like a lot of fans do worldwide, if you're a fan of the club, you have a right to question what it is that you're seeing. And what I've noticed from a lot of fans who maybe don't want to go on Mourinho's back, yes, okay, they're going to look at some of the positives that he's done. But like Rance just said, what he's done is the bare minimum for the squad that he's had. I can't understand people who are reverting back to, he won two trophies in his first season and got us to second. Like, hang on a minute. First of all, those 2 trophies, they're nothing to write home about. He prioritised the Europa League because we had to, because we were so poor in the league. We didn't play anyone good in the Europa League, and we beat Ajax as kids, basically. And the Carling Cup, Carabao Cup, whatever you want to call it, is the cup that we've never celebrated those trophies. So why should we now? Then in the second season, he's won absolutely nothing. And you could say that we've got to second place. But anyone will tell you that last year we were probably the worst second place team we've ever seen. Like, do you know what I mean? And then you're looking at teams like Watford, Bournemouth, Brighton, all these lower teams that always attack teams and have a way of playing that I can actually say, look how they make chances. Look at them on the break. Like, I see it. And I look at the players we have. I look at us in every game almost, and I think, why are we not doing it? Why are we not having any moments of sustained pressure? Why does the other team not look like they're under pressure? Why don't they look like they're afraid to play against us? And that comes down to coaching. It comes down to the mentality of the players and what they're working on and what they're set out to do. And it's as simple as that for me.
I think some fans as well. I mean, every human being is different, and I haven't got a problem with anybody who's backing Mourinho and is positive, because you're all United fans, hopefully. So that's your prerogative. Of course it is. But I think we were sold a dream. I think we were sold a lie by Mourinho, and I know that sounds really horrible to say it, but I do. I look back to what he said in that first press conference. You get loads of injuries here. That's not going to happen when I'm manager. Well, we have. I do play the youth, and he gets this list out that's, not worth the paper it's written on. And lo and behold, he's hardly played any youth. And then he gives a youth player he's played about 3 times Player of the Year to try and make it look like he's played youth. But for the big one is the style of football. And I think the lie there was that this is going to take 2 to 3 years. How many games has Sarri had at Chelsea? And in every single game, he's absolutely revolutionised the way that they play. Pep did it as well.
Exactly.
If you've got a philosophy, you've got a philosophy.
Mark, sorry, just quickly, yeah. Even Arsenal, yeah. As much as I always back at Arsenal, and I do think we'll finish higher than them because we're just better than them. Even Arsenal, yeah. Emery is actually trying to implement something different. Like, as much as we want to laugh at Arsenal, he's coming and they have a complete different way of playing already. Like, all right, they're going to mess up and have loads of bad results because their players ain't good enough to work his system. But like Gary Neville said on Monday Night Football, he's bang on. Like, he has to suss out the players that they've got and work out who can play and fit the system. Jose hasn't done that. We've just bought players and thrown them in.
Mm. And that's the next thing I was going to ask you about, Rance, really, is that obviously Spurs tomorrow night, but this is typical, stereotypical Jose Mourinho, is that we lose a game because of him. It was his tactics. We didn't create chances. He talks about individual mistakes, but where were the goals if we didn't make the mistakes? We still would have drawn it, or maybe even lost it anyway. But expected tomorrow, Phil Jones will come into the centre-back. Fellaini may even start instead of Fred. That's the rumour. There'll be no Pereira. He might put Young instead of Shaw. Valencia comes back in. The status quo come back. But there is no style of play. Have you got any thoughts on if he does that tomorrow? Are you bothered by that? Is he right to do that? Would you like to see some consistency, sticking with maybe Lindelof and Bailly and letting them develop a partnership?
Yeah, I said it in my Spurs preview, actually. I said he's a coward. He will always revert back to his safety players. That's why I said I wouldn't be surprised to see Smalling and Jones come back, and Valencia and Fellaini come in, because that's what he does. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, Bailly and Lindelof should get 10 games together. No matter what happens. You centre-backs, you need partnerships. Last season, we didn't play the same centre-back partnership 2 games in a row for the whole season. That's a joke for me. These guys to not make mistakes, to know what they're doing if they don't have a run of games. It's actually shambolic what he's done, and he's bought them 2 centre-halves. So, how much sympathy can you have for the guy? You can't really. Fellaini shouldn't be starting a game against anyone. I don't care. Fellaini's the plan C. When the plan B doesn't work, we have to go long to Fellaini, but he's a plan C. That guy shouldn't be starting games. So, it's just one of them things where, for me, when he told Fellaini to sign that contract when he was injured and pretty much begged the guy to stay at the club, that's the final nail in the coffin for me, man. You're not a Manchester United manager, because he's not a Manchester United player. I don't care if he scores the winning goal in every game till the end of the season. I still want him out at the end of the season because it doesn't send the right message.
I think
honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. He's going to bring back all the tried and the trusted. As I said, it's probably going to be an ugly and very boring game. I would just scrape something like we always do, and I'll be happy to scrape something against. Let's not pretend that this is the way we're meant to play football, guys, because it's not.
Joseph Lackey says Jose's a bad manager. He did it to Bastian. He's doing it to Martial, Shaw, Pogba, and possibly Rashford. Hasn't improved his attitude nor any player. But there's a good question here from Lee Davies. I want to start taking to your questions for Flex and Rants as well. But just very quickly, Rants. Lee Davies says we better not park the bus tomorrow. We're talking about winning. I'd be stunned if Jose Mourinho goes out at Old Trafford, although he should do, and try and has a go at them. I mean, he's going to try and grind this out. Let's be honest.
He is. He's going to keep it very tight. I think he'll use Fellaini to go long over the Tottenham press, and hopefully we can nick something from a set piece with Fellaini, Lukaku, Pogba, that height. Like, honestly, we're not going to try and play football with Tottenham, because if we do, they'll beat us. You know what I mean? We showed that last time. We played them at Wembley. We went for the Lingard Pogba thing, and they absolutely smashed us, mate. Like, we can't out-football Tottenham, because I don't know what we do in training, but it's not play football. Like, we'll get killed if we try and out-football Tottenham. We're going to keep it nice and tight, nice and compact, and we're just going to try and nick it. Like, that's the only way our team knows how to play effectively.
To be honest, I think it would be very difficult for United to switch a switch and play football anyway, because we don't play football, and we've got a team that does play football. So for us to try and play football against a team that's used to it, we'd get schooled anyway. So we're going to have to play to our strength, and I won't be surprised to see Fred on the bench and Fellaini start. I'll be disgusted, but I won't be surprised. Let's have a look at some of the comments then. Let's see if we can get a question up for Flex to answer as well. Well, actually, there was a question from earlier on. I forget the name of the person. He might drop in the live comments again. But basically, quite a good question, this one, Flex. He was talking about Pogba and Martial, and he says they actually really have a good chemistry. You see it when they're on the touchline. You see it on the training pitch. Obviously, both young French men. And he was saying, from what I've seen, and it never gets spoken, when on the rare occasions they are on the pitch, because let's not forget, Sanchez always wanders into Pogba's position and they don't play well together. When Pogba and Martial play, they do have a good chemistry, because Martial hugs the touchline, Pogba can step into that position. I mean, we're not going to see either of those tomorrow, but I suppose the question would be, Martial apparently is going to ride it out and stay for a year and hope that Mourinho goes. Mourinho wants to sell him. Would you agree with that from Martial? Is it worth keeping him, hanging on in there? Or would you be looking to move Martial on because he's not... I don't think he will get much game time under Mourinho. Mourinho don't like him.
Yeah, 100% it's worth keeping Martial, in my opinion. There's fans out there who say his attitude's poor and get rid of him, what's he done and all this nonsense. That's their opinion, innit? But for me, he symbolises everything that Manchester United player should be when he's confident and he's getting a run of games. Like, what's the guy supposed to do? He was playing well and then got shafted out the team for no reason. And everyone just keeps saying that he should just put up with it and show his gravy and stuff. But at the end of the day, how much more does he have to do that? What's he got to do to play himself into the side? It's not even like Alexis is playing phenomenal football. If Alexis was playing phenomenally and scoring goals, making assists week in, week out, I would actually say, do you know what, Martial, you're going to have to bide your time or find a different way and show your class. But he's not. He's not. That's like someone replacing me at work and not doing a better job than me. Well, what's the point? I don't understand that. So for me, I would 100% keep Martial. And in relation to the Pogba thing, yeah, of course they got a good relationship. They're countrymen. They seem like they're cool guys off the pitch. They have a good relationship, but they don't get the chance to be together on the pitch and build that relationship, which is where it really matters. They might be good at 2-on-2 in training or keep ball and stuff like that because they're bang on. But at the end of the day, the manager won't pick Martial. And in terms of him hanging on, it's weird because I did say this. I said this with Pogba and Martial, which is about, if we do keep them, which I did hope we did for my own selfish reasons, what type of Pogba and what type of Martial would we be keeping? Because put yourself in Martial's shoes, you've basically been made to stay at the club because the club have come out, well, they haven't come out and said, but I'm assuming that the club has said, we're not selling him, like we want him. But Martial knows he's not going to get game time and the relationship's broken down with Mourinho. So what kind of headset is he going to be in? He knows he's not going to get a run of games. He knows he hasn't got the full backing of the manager. His confidence is low from the outset. He needs a run of 5 to 10 games just to get going because he's been at the side so long. And with Pogba, yeah, I know he's a lot bigger commodity than Martial and he's a bigger player in world football. But the same thing, his confidence is going to be bad as well. He's got a bad relationship with the manager. He potentially wanted to go, maybe. Or Mourinho wanted to sell him, whichever way you look at it. And what sort of headspace is he in? These players are not settled. Because you look at players like Mo Salah and Sane, or you look at players like Aguero, you look at players like Silva and De Bruyne, and I know they're class players, but the key to them being successful is they're settled. you have to be settled within your working environment for you to perform at the best of your ability. And Martial and Pogba are not settled. So I expect to see more inconsistent performances. Some people will say that's not an excuse, they're professional footballers, but they're human beings first. And if you're not comfortable in your place of work, you're going to be inconsistent with your performance.
Yeah. That was from Russell. Sorry for that rant. Were you going to say something?
Yeah, it's just funny how people talk about Martial's attitude. Where was this talk when LVG was manager? There was no talk of Martial's bad attitude. All of a sudden, like, a bad attitude. Pogba, there was no talk of a bad attitude from Pogba. Fergie said the reason why Pogba left was because of his agent. He didn't want to deal with the agent. There was no talk of Pogba having a bad attitude at Juventus. There's no talk of Pogba having a bad attitude in the French camp. You're seeing the guy taking team talks. He's not even a skipper and rousing all the players. And now all of a sudden he's got a bad attitude. There's numerous occasions where people have said Jose's got a bad attitude and he rubs players up the wrong way, but everyone wants to blame the players.
He still gets backed. Yeah, exactly.
I can't blame the players on this one, man. I can't blame the players on this one because there's too many examples in football of Jose Mourinho not being able to manage certain players. It's just that simple.
He himself, didn't he?
Yeah, well, there you go.
Europa League final. Interview with Rio Ferdinand. He said, I can't put my hand around players. I only like players who are mentally strong. Sorry, mate. McDonald's manager or what? If you can't manage people, you can't manage people. You know, you can't say that. You've got to be able to manage different types.
Guys saying Pogba's got a bad attitude. So what about Eric then? What about Eric Cantona?
He's trying kicking people in the head.
Eric Cantona beat up the players at his last club and got slung out, yeah? Fergie didn't say he had a bad attitude because Fergie knew how to deal with him. All the United players will tell you that Cantona didn't get treated the way everyone else got treated. When you've got certain players, you have to know how to treat them. You don't treat every player the same. That's not how you get the best out of every player. That's not how you get the best out of every person. Every person's an individual. If Jose can't manage individuals, then in 2018, he can't manage. He can't manage a football club. Football's changed.
Definitely. And that is true. Mourinho said that himself, that he can't manage those sort of players, which is ridiculous in the modern day. I think he's been very lucky to have, be surrounded by or surround himself with certain types of players, hasn't he? Which, is. There's a few people in the live comments talking about the new away kit. I've heard Tuesday. Is that right, Flex?
Yeah, a good friend of mine at Adidas said Tuesday or Wednesday it's definitely getting released in the Adidas flagship store in Manchester, and then it'll be released the following week in the mega store.
There you go. I was just going to ask you, Rance, actually. There's a few people in the live comments talking about this, and I know we've spoken about it before on the show, so I'll ask you. Alexis Sanchez, he's a divider. I mean, obviously he sort of fits in the Martial thing, and Flex was talking about it there, but best paid player in the Premier League. We don't know whether it's 500 grand, 400 grand, 300 grand, but we know he's the best paid player in the league because Sanchez himself said he was very proud of that. Lots of United fans willing to run through brick walls to defend him, even though he's done very little in a shirt. And as Flex said, Martial had done nothing wrong. 3 players of the month from 5 months and gets dropped for this player. Have Arsenal sold as a dud, or do you think again he's just another victim of the style of football we play?
He's a victim of the style of football that we play because at Arsenal, you don't just go and get player of the season. Do you know what I mean? At a club like Arsenal, do you know what I mean? Like if you're not decent, come on. He's a decent player. Jose doesn't know how to get the best out of Alexis Sanchez, but because Alexis Sanchez is the kind of player that he is, he keeps working hard and he keeps trying. And a lot of fans like Sanchez because of the passion he shows and because he tries. But for me, that's not good enough. I don't care how hard you try. I want to see your output. His output's poor in this team. So it's one of them things where he doesn't suit the Jose Mourinho way, whatever that is, because I don't think Jose knows what that is. Jose can't get the best out of Sanchez as well, and that was his buy. So I believe on current form, Sanchez should be nowhere near the starting 11. However, he's not a bad player. It's just that the manager can't get the best out of him. So I think that Sanchez isn't to blame for his form, but given us what same energy they were defending Martial, Jesse, Pogba for some bad performances, then I might have sympathy for them. But everyone's got an excuse for Alexis, but he hasn't given us even a tenth for what the rest of the players have given us, and they're giving them shit. So it's mad. The inconsistency amongst the fan base is crazy.
Yeah, it is. There are divides and there are favourites. I mean, I was just going to say that to you, Flex, as well. It's like, obviously on social media quite a lot. I love to give Eden Hazard a little bit, and obviously I get all the hate from the Chelsea fans.
You hate Hazard, man.
I do. I just think I think he's a good player,
Hazard's
but I don't
man.
get why Hazard's in the same sentence as De Bruyne or Salah, because Hazard has one good season. He is your typical down tools if he doesn't like a manager, and I can't stand that. But he's a good player. But what I was going to say is what I hate about it at the moment is that you go around social media and, you know, Liverpool have got Salah, Hazard at Chelsea, Kane and Eriksen and Ali at Spurs, and City have got an abundance of talent, and none of your United attackers would get in our team. And they're right to a certain extent, but they are, like Rance says, I agree, they're a victim of the system they play in. I'll guarantee if we had Salah, De Bruyne, Harry Kane, and Hazard, they'd be as crap as Martial and Sanchez.
Of course. And you know what the funny thing is? I don't want to spoil it too much, but we've got a video going up tomorrow when I've done a combined 11 with We Are Tottenham TV, and like I said, I don't want to spoil it, but it was a sad realisation of a lot of stuff, put it that way. And that's the and that's the key, really, because at the end of the day, you look at our players individually, you can't really argue. You would think that we're as good as most. Do you know what I mean? But when you look at how we perform and the system we play and how
the output doesn't make sense.
Exactly, it doesn't live up. I'm seeing teams. I keep saying it. I see teams in the bottom half of the table have sustained attacks. I watched Watford against Crystal Palace today. There were times where Watford were just all over them. Then there were times where Palace on the break just looked good. Palace against Liverpool, look at the game that they played. On the break, they look sharp. They look like something could happen. And I'm just looking at that game and I'm thinking, this is Crystal Palace. Like, come on, man. Come on. Like, look at the players we've got. I look at the players that these other sides have got. It's just that those players are playing for their manager and are buying into the system, whatever their system is. Look at Bournemouth. I'm seeing James Wilson breezing through people and getting chances. Come on, man. It's ridiculous.
A lot of hate in the live comments because I don't rate Hazard. I do rate Hazard, but I don't like. It's like the World Cup semi-final. He played for a move to Real Madrid. He won't get his head up at all. He was like trying to score a wonder goal to get a move to Real Madrid, and it's a World Cup semi-final. And Lukaku's walking around like, you know, why am I here? I think Hazard is a very, very selfish player, which is great if you're Ronaldo or Messi. But also, if things go wrong, I've seen him have seasons where, you know, I've called him before the Belgian Nathan Redmond. He's nothing.
Yeah, you said that. Nothing. You're crazy.
But he does. But on his game, he's very, very good. But I think consistency and attitude let Hazard down. But it's all about opinion.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
It's all about opinion.
Do you know what? I think his numbers should be higher in terms of his goals, maybe, and things like that.
He should be a lot better than he is.
In terms of, do you know what it is with Hazard? In terms of, like, it's not Chelsea channel. I don't want to talk too much about it, but just quickly, just because you brought him up, when he's on form, he's unplayable. He's unplayable. You can't get the ball off him. He makes things happen. He impacts games. But like you said, it is when he's in the mood to do it. But for me, he's a fantastic player, and I'll take him right now over he'd walk into our team at any position.
Yeah.
But this is what I mean, Rance, isn't it? This is what we're on about. We started the show with this. Is that obviously there's a load of hate there saying, I hate Hazard now, which is not actually the truth. I'm being critical of him because I think he could be a lot better and more consistent, more goals, like Flex says. It's exactly the same as what you said about United at the start. You know, people are critical of United, not because they don't love the club, because they do love the club. They can see what it can be. So being critical of something isn't necessarily, you know, wrong. It's the situation I think we have with United at the moment is so many people are unhappy because it's just not what we are, and there's a real concern as to when that will come back. I mean, Mike Phelan said, and I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Mike Phelan, assistant manager with Sir Alex Ferguson, he said that this is a warning for Jose Mourinho. You know, Man City, all right, they drew with Wolves, but nothing wrong, nothing ever leaks out. Playing great football, getting players in, happy camp, as you can see on the Amazon Prime thing, really happy camp. Everyone playing for everyone. United, not near Man City, players not happy, board not happy, manager not happy, playing it out in the press. You're never going to close that gap when it's like that. And if Jose doesn't see that warning, maybe he should walk.
Yep, absolutely. Mickey's spot on, mate. Yeah, I mean, he's spot on. Like, there's too many things going wrong. Too many things going wrong at that place for everything to be rosy. And I just feel like the kind of manager Jose Mourinho is, he can't turn it around. Like, even the way he addressed the summer. That fair enough, he didn't get he said he didn't get the players he wanted or whatever for whatever reason. Nobody cares. It was the way he came out at it. He could have come and he could have angled it and said, you know what, we want a few more players, but if I don't get them, we got a strong enough squad. We got some good players here to challenge for the title. He didn't say that. He basically came out and said, if we don't get the players we want, we're fucked. How do the players that we have feel about that?
Mm. Yeah, there's no vote of confidence for them.
Your manager basically just said to you, you know what, you lot aren't good enough to challenge for the title. So if I don't get the players I want, we're going to struggle. Those were his words. Like, why would you back that? Like, why would you back that as a player? Why? Like, it makes no sense. So, like, I think there's a lot of things that are wrong. I think there's a catalogue of errors that have gone on there. And Phelan's spot on, man. He's spot on. Like, we don't just need to catch them on the pitch, man. There's a lot of things off the pitch that we're far behind.
I was laughing there because someone in the live comment says it looks like someone's giving Rance a big finger behind him. There's a shadow that looks like a fist with a finger in it. But there's also a lot of people in the live comments saying we're being a little bit negative. I disagree, but some people think that we are looking back to the past with Fergie. They apparently don't know we had an identity long before that, says Bio20, which is a great comment. Yeah, United's attacking football goes back way longer than Sir Alex Ferguson. He fought hard to bring it back.
Of course it does. Of course it does. But a lot of the fans that are watching this show and watching other shows weren't around in them times. So yeah, we could talk about that, but the average watcher of this thing is not going to be 60 odd years old. These guys ain't even got internet. So do you know what I mean? Like, let's be honest, man. Like, if you're 40 and below, do you know what I mean? Like, that's what you know, man. Do you know what I mean? So it's one of them things. Of course, the identity. And when you look at the Charltons and all of that, we had that attacking blood way before Sir Alec. So nobody's saying, oh, Fergie needs to come back. Like, nobody's even mentioned Sir Alec Ferguson.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with him.
It's got nothing to do with Fergie. No. It's the DNA of the club. Do you know what I'm saying? It's got nothing to do with Fergie. Nobody's spoken about Sir Alec Ferguson this whole Skype channel. Like, nobody's mentioned his name because it's not about Fergie. It's about the club.
All right, here's a bit of positivity then, and I'm going to ask you both on this. Spurs tomorrow night, Burnley next Sunday, and then probably playing Watford after that, I think. That's after the international break. So, Spurs, Burnley, I think 6 points. Flex? I genuinely think 6 points. I think we'll beat Spurs tomorrow because we have to. And then Burnley got smashed today because they're playing Thursday nights in the Europa League, which is another massive advantage for us. So I'm going to go 6 points. What about you?
I'm going to be optimistic and go 6 points. I'm going to be optimistic. I'm going to be positive then. Yeah, 6 points.
Rance?
Bruv, I think we'll beat Spurs and then draw at Burnley, blood. That's what
I know, I would normally. It's just the fact they're playing Europa League on Thursday. They're going to be knackered. Although, as Fulham did, they absolutely smashed them in the first half an hour. You know what we'll do? Sit back. Go, have a rest. Put your feet up. We'll just pass it around.
That's what I mean. I just don't know, man. Like, I think that Spurs, I think the top 6 clubs, I don't ever worry because I feel like even if it looks ugly, we'll get the job done. It's the smaller teams I genuinely worry about, man. Like, I've seen us lose to Brighton twice now. Do you know what I mean? And not even look like beating them.
We lost to all the promoted teams last year. All of them.
Yeah. That's what it is, man. Like, honestly, against the top 6 clubs, I'm not really worried, especially at our gaff. But against the other teams, man, it's like not sure, man.
A tough game as well.
I don't want to mention Sir Alex because we haven't done that, but I also think the problem United have as well is that, you know, when United go to Brighton or wherever like that in the summer, all the Brighton fans are looking at United. They will, you know, they won't think United play shit football under Mourinho. It's Manchester United rolls into town, and when Spurs and Liverpool and City roll into town, obviously they're far better than us. But it's not the same buzz as Manchester United running into town. Everybody still wants to beat Manchester United. They're not scared of us anymore, but they do.
No, it's getting easier
to
beat us. Exactly, it's still their cup final, but it's just becoming easier and easier to play against us. And like I said in one of our shows a couple of weeks ago, I think it was, the opposition managers, I think, with Man United either think, do you know what, we'll either have a go at them because they're not as good as they were, or we'll sit back because they won't be able to break us down and we'll hit them on a counter. They always have a way of actually playing against us, home or away as well. Home or away. I've seen it at Old Trafford.
Flex and Rants, give big up to the show. I look forward to hear you guys. Even my 7-year-old Jalen Toon, thanks. There you go.
Jalen tunes in. Yes, Jalen.
Yeah, that's from Andre Lewis. There you go.
Yes, Andre.
You're not on Tuesday this week, are you? You're on Wednesday, that's right.
Yeah, that's right, because of the game and then obviously getting back and stuff. We're going to have to shift it. That's going to happen sometimes during the season because when there's a Monday night game, it just shifts it out a little bit. But the Flex and Rant show will be with you this week as normal, man.
Well, it's the Champions League draw this week as well. That's on Thursday. We will bring that to you live as well.
Yeah,
may as well ask you about that, Rants. Our Champions League, what... realistically, what can we hope for?
Bro, we just need to do better than last year. That's what I said to Flex. That's an improvement, isn't it?
That's the game was just... Oh, God.
We just need to do better than last year and hope we get a favourable draw. Because, to be completely honest, I'm worried about the league. I don't care about the Champions League. I know we're not going to win it. Like right now, I'm worried about the league, man. Like I'm seriously worried about the league. So Champions League, we just need to get past. Well, if we get past the quarterfinals, like we've done all right, we could say that's progress.
We get to it, it's progress, bro.
Yeah, it's true. Let's not count it. If we get to the quarterfinals,
if we get to it, it's progress.
Yeah.
So Tang TV says must-win game. Mark, big up to Flex and Rants. Yeah, please do drop a like on the video if you've enjoyed the video tonight. A few people asking about Sophie. She's not been on for a while. She's not been very well, but she has said that hopefully she'll be back in the next couple of weeks. So best wishes to her. Okay, quarterfinals and we're out. We didn't get to quarterfinals last year, did we? We got out.
Round of 16, mate. Later, see you later. Bye bye.
I just that Sevilla game is just inexcusable.
Fuming that game.
Yeah, that tipped me over the edge. That game.
Didn't we have like one shot over 2 games?
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah,
you were out in Sevilla, weren't you, actually? Flex? And De Gea made about 50 saves, didn't he? And we draw
exactly. Shot. The thing is, we played that second leg like we had something to hold on to, like we was winning 2-0 or something.
Bro,
I just couldn't believe it.
For a draw at home
when it was 0-0.
Bro, that is when I said, yo, this Jose guy's off his nut. Like, we come out at home, played for a 0-0 away from home when we should have tried to get the away goal.
Exactly.
Then came home and played for another draw. I was like, what?
And the worst thing is...
That's where Pogba was on the bench and Fellaini started at Old Trafford.
That's right.
As well.
The team was in...
Scholes was going mad.
At that point, we'd just beaten Chelsea, we'd just beaten Liverpool, and we'd come back against Crystal Palace in the last minute. The team was on the front foot, and he just tinkered with the team and just ruined us, man. I don't even want to talk about that day again, ever.
No. I mean, I think we'll get top 4. But then again, Chelsea are doing well. Liverpool, I think, I'll be in the top 4. Spurs possibly as well. I mean, yeah, City obviously going to be in the top 4. It's going to be tough, but we've got to win tomorrow night. We've got to win tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think
it's going to be. I mean, it's going to be a very interesting season, Rants, isn't it? Maybe not enjoyable, but very interesting, I think.
Yeah, the football won't be enjoyable, but it's going to be. Oh, it's going to be tight, man. When I look at Chelsea and Spurs, I think I can't see past City and Liverpool. Obviously, City and Liverpool are going to finish in the top 4. And then you got to think Chelsea or Spurs need to drop out for us to finish in the top 4. And Chelsea are definitely moving forward, and Chelsea still have the foundation of a strong team. And Spurs...
Chelsea got Europa League, though, haven't they? That could be a big help to us.
It could be, but
if they go for it, they'll mess their league form up.
For that. Chelsea aren't going for the Europa League. I'm telling you, like Chelsea are bigger than that. Chelsea know they can finish in the top 4. I think Arsenal will go for the Europa League. So I don't see them as a threat to the top 4 because I think they'll prioritise the Europa League because they know they don't have the squad to compete. But
yeah, DT's messed up twice there because he's not only just done 100 quid with you, Flex. He did it with me on Friday.
Easy money, mate. He loves his
money,
charities.
You know.
It just means that DT's a great guy.
He hadn't even thought it through because Rance is right. They're going to go Europa League and that'll mess them up anyway. So
easy money, mate. Easy money. Then we're going to smash them at that football thing as well.
Yeah, need to get that sorted out. Anyway, thanks for coming on, Rants. Really, really appreciate you dropping on late on, and I know everyone in the live comments has enjoyed it. Shout out to your social media as well, whatever you've got.
Yeah, man, the Twitter, man. Just jump on the Twitter, Rants and Bants, at Rants and Bants. You can find that easy. Active on there, man. Active on there. And same with the Instagram.
There you go. And Flex, thanks as always. You'll be doing the fan cams tomorrow night, which we will be getting up, hopefully, 8 o'clock kickoff, so hopefully around just before midnight, something like that. Hopefully some positivity.
That's right. Me and Rance are going to be travelling up there. We've got some shooting to do in the morning, early doors, and then we're going to fly out to Manchester early. And we're going to do some live stuff up there as well on Instagram. Invite people to call in as well. So that'll be good. But yeah, the fan cams will be coming, and hopefully, man, we're on a good result, on the end of a good result.
Yeah, I must shout that out actually, because Flex found this out the other day, and Rance and Flex both have access to it at United Stand TV. I think it is on Instagram, and we are going to do it more as probably over the next few weeks. But you can go live on Instagram and pull people in, so their picture comes up as well. So we're going to do more of that. So make sure you follow us on at United Stand TV on Instagram.
That's it, man. 100%. And get at me on Twitter as well, FlexUTD. And obviously Instagram, same thing, FlexUTD. We're always active on there. Love engaging with you guys and talking all things United, man.
Defo. Thanks everyone for watching. Really enjoyed, love the Sunday night show. So thanks everyone who's watched and dropped a like on it, and subscribe if you're new, bottom right hand corner. And tomorrow's game day. We're waiting a long time. As I said earlier, it's a bit like waiting to open your Christmas presents on Boxing Day, isn't it? You go, all your mates are opening up PS4s, and we don't know whether we're getting a PS4 or a pair of socks. But we'll find out tomorrow night. Positivity, I think we'll win. We've got to win. If we don't win, God knows. But thanks, everyone. Thanks to the guests. Speak to you all soon. And we are...